guys, Jessica with Southern Sparrow, and we are doing our deep dive into the question and answer section of the National Mahjong League's annual newsletter. So this little section tends to be really helpful clarifying questions, but I learn visually, and so I tend to do better when I can see something in the way it's played out. So that's what we're going to do. So let's do question number 1 from the National Mahjong League's annual newsletter. The question is a joker that was exposed before a hand has been called dead available for redemption? So a couple things there. They're talking about doing a joker swap. I know we've done videos on how to do a joker swap before, but specifically if a hand is dead. So let's talk about what it means if your hand is called dead. And reminder that you as a player cannot call your own hand dead. So I can't go and expose something and go, oh, I'm dead. No. Someone else at your table has to notice that your hand cannot be played to win Mahjong and then call it dead. Now, in a social setting, which is where I usually play, this isn't really something that goes on super often. We're not overly competitive. We're playing Mahjong because we want a great excuse to get together. We love playing Mahjong. It's super fun. We like to just be social together when we're playing. But if you have decided to maybe challenge yourself and sign up for a tournament, or you've signed up for a competitive league, or you and your quad decide that you're gonna go and play something that's a little bit more difficult where you're keeping score or you're playing for money or something like that, or there's prizes involved, you may encounter another player calling your hand dead. So there's a few ways that your hand can be dead. If you have too few or too many tiles during gameplay, then you can be called dead. So let's say that I look down and we're halfway through the game and I only have 12 tiles on my rack. Someone could notice that and be like, oh, your hand is dead. Similarly, if you make an exposure that's not allowed, meaning you expose for 2025, or you expose for news, or you expose for that run that's on this year's card, the 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are groups of singles. They can't be called for exposure, meaning you can't call an East that's been discarded to make your NEWS exposure. So someone could call you dead if you did that. Similarly, if you expose a concealed hand, that would be a dead hand. And if you expose a hand that doesn't exist, that would be a dead hand. So that's what I've done here. I have exposed for a hand that doesn't exist. So let's talk about that. So we're still playing on the 2025 card. National Mahjong League releases new cards for the year in early April. So the 2026 card will come out in April of this year. It's January right now. So for the next 3-ish months, we're playing on this card. So that's why we're still talking about 2025. On the 2025 card, there is a hand that is third from the bottom on Winds and Dragons. It's a Kong of Easts, and then it's even numbers, a single in one suit, a pair in a second suit, a Pung in the third suit, and then your Kong of Wests. It's important to note that the parentheses make it clear that if you're using the Easts and the Wests, they must be paired with even numbers only. It says any like even numbers in 3 suits. So let's pretend that I've exposed my Kong of East. Someone discarded an East. I called and exposed that Kong. And then someone discarded a 5 dot that I needed, and I used a joker and I exposed for my Pung of 5 dots. At that point, someone at the table could look and say, there is no such hand that calls for a Kong, 4 of a kind of Easts, and a Pung of an odd number. On the 2025 card, that does not exist. So someone could say, your hand is dead. What that means if my hand is dead is I don't pick tiles from the wall anymore. I don't discard tiles. I don't have a turn. But when the game is over, if we're keeping score and there's penalties, or if we're playing for money and there's penalties, I do take on those penalties. So I may lose points for losing the game, or I may lose points for, let's say that I had discarded after this exposure and then someone won, I could lose points for that, or paying out a monetary winning. So I'm still penalized, but I can't play anymore. Anyway, if this joker is exposed, the question in the newsletter was, if that joker is exposed on a dead hand, can it be used for a joker swap? So this player next to me has the 5 dot. can she give me that 5 dot and take my joker? And the answer from the league is, I'll read it to you and then I'll explain it. Jokers may be exchanged from any and all exposures that were made before the hand was declared dead. Exception: if a hand was declared dead because the exposures were found to be part of a concealed hand, those exposures must be returned to the rack and no jokers are redeemable. So this is not a concealed hand. It just is a hand that doesn't exist. It was declared dead after I made this exposure. So this joker is available for that joker swap, meaning that this player could give me the 5 dot, take the joker that I had exposed, place it in the sloped part of their rack, and use it somewhere in their hand. Totally legal. Had I exposed erroneously for a concealed hand, I would have to pull those exposures back down and then sit there dead, meaning that the jokers would not be available because it was part of a concealed hand. It should have never been exposed to begin with. So those are the two things that the league is talking about in this particular question. I hope that's helpful. Please drop any questions that you have down in the comments and I'll make you a video for them. Happy Mahjong, y'all!